good, fast, cheap, pick any two. It no longer applies because today, fast has to be one of them. Now you can decide whether in your particular business you want to be fast and inexpensive or fast and high quality, but you damn well better be fast.
You know, that's been around for ages. Why do you think that we are in this place right now where one of those three has to be speed?
Well, I think partially because people value speed as much as they value anything else. Like speed and responsiveness has always been an important part of the customer experience. In fact, of all 6 books I've written, every single book I've ever written has at least a chapter on speed. But now I'm doing my deepest dive yet, because now I believe, and the research bears it out, that it's not only an important part of customer experience, it is the most important part of customer experience. To wit, 85% of customers say that speed and responsiveness is a critical factor, not a factor, a critical factor in their loyalty to specific companies and businesses.
Welcome to Grow Think Tank. This is the one and only place where you will get insight from the founders and the CEOs of the fastest growing privately held companies. I am the host. My name is Gene Hammett. I help leaders and their teams navigate the defining moments of their growth. Are you ready to grow?
This is a very special episode about levers to growth. And we're going to talk about why responsiveness is the growth lever for this year. When you think about your business, hopefully you're looking at not just price, you're not looking at quality, you're looking at how fast are you serving your clients. Now, this works in a B2C world, it works in a B2B world, and today we're going to unpack that with Hall of Fame speaker Jay Baer. Jay has got a unique style and approach to this, but we're going to talk about some of his research. We're going to talk today about why responsiveness is so critically important. When you think about what you can do next, I want you to really think about how you can respond quicker to the requests coming in, how you can even set up your website, your content to answer the questions before they get asked. Now that is pretty fast. So responsiveness is the key to growth. And we have the special episode with Jay Baer. Jay, how are you?
I'm fantastic, my friend. Nice to see you as always.
Well, we're going to have a great conversation. I know you've been out on the road, back speaking again. Tell me a little bit about, where the speaking industry is compared to where it was 2 years ago.
It's pretty much the same, just without as many buffets. More plated meals now for food safety concerns. But other than that, it almost feels like Groundhog Day. But I'll tell you, it's interesting. As a speaker, I can always tell when it's the first event that this particular association, organization, franchise group, company, et cetera, has had since COVID, because the open bar is a stampede, right? It's like, it's the first open bar we've had since COVID, right? So yeah. I think everybody's bar tab is up, but it is nice to be back out there for sure. And as a speaker, it's nice to be able to get feedback in real time. I mean, I did 100 virtual presentations a year during the COVID stretch, and it worked fine, and it wasn't too much of a disadvantage economically. But it's really hard to work on new material because people don't comment in real time in the chat, right? They're not like putting in a lol in the chat or saying that's dumb. Like, so you're like, I think that's pretty funny, and you have no evidence as to whether or not it's funny until you get it back out there live. So that's been interesting too.
I agree with you. I didn't do as many speeches as you for many reasons. I'm not the professional speaker that you are in the experience, but there's some humor in my speech and there's some interaction, and you just didn't get that inside of when everyone's on mute.
Yeah, it's tricky. I think a lot of folks made the best of it and certainly got better at it. There's fewer times you have to say, hey, you're on mute. So that's good. We've learned that lesson, if nothing else. There's, modestly fewer dogs and babies on camera. So we're getting there. It's all coming together.
Well, let's dive in. I know you've got Talk Triggers has been something you've been using for a while. Love the book, and Thanks. You've got something new. So tell us about what this new thing is.
Yeah, I always have something new. I mean, I've been a strategist and a business consultant now for nearly 30 years. And I've worked with 700 plus brands during my career. And I'm not a futurist. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't have tarot cards. I don't know what the future is going to hold, but I know what the present holds. And so what I try to do, Gene, is on approximately every 2 years, what I try and do is figure out, based on my experience working with all these companies and my own companies as well, is to say, all right, what is the lever right now? What is the lever or the dial that businesses can deploy today to outperform their competition? And because customer expectations change and customer behaviors change, that lever, that dial also changes. So on an approximately 24-month period, I say, okay, here's my new idea for you that you can use for the next period of time to leapfrog your competition. And again, it's not necessarily like, plastics, right? It's something that you're probably already doing, but you're not doing it well enough and you're not emphasizing it enough. So the new research project / speech / book probably is called The Time to Win. And it's about the relationship between responsiveness and revenue. Turns out that we care more about our time now than we ever have in the past.
I, agree with that. And I think a lot of my clients are very, very busy people. And so time is something that it's very much something they're guarding. But what you're talking about is I guess, servicing clients. So what's the most surprising element of this research?
Well, I think first of all, some of it is technology has changed the way we think about time. There's no question about that. But also the pandemic, right? The pandemic sort of forced us to understand that nothing is guaranteed, that tomorrow is not promised. It's just rumored. And subsequently, I think we've all kind of remembered, if you will, that we only have 1,440 minutes a day, period. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're Elon Musk or someone experiencing homelessness, a grandfather, a grandson, American, Venezuelan. It doesn't matter who you are. You get 1,440 a day, period. You can't buy more. You can't make more. You can't steal more. And consequently, when you think about all these trends in business right now, work from home, leisure travel, great resignation, quiet quitting, all that stuff is actually the same trend, which is that we care more about our time and how we spend it than ever. So in this big research project I conducted called The Time to Win, and I always do a big national research project when I'm developing a new lever to make sure it's true before I tell everybody that it's true. And in the research project, we discovered that 2/3 of customers now say that speed is as important as price. Now, Gene, you obviously are very familiar with the old business maxim, good, fast, cheap, pick any two. It no longer applies because today, fast has to be one of them. Now, you can decide whether in your particular business you want to be fast and inexpensive or fast and high quality, but you damn well better be fast.
That's been around for ages. Why do you think that we are in this place right now where one of those three has to be speed?
Well, I think partially because people value speed as much as they value anything else. Like speed and responsiveness has always been an important part of the customer experience. In fact, of all 6 books I've written, every single book I've ever written has at least a chapter on speed. But now I'm doing my deepest dive yet, because now I believe, and the research bears it out, that it's not only an important part of customer experience, it is the most important part of customer experience. To wit, 85% of customers say that speed and responsiveness is a critical factor, not a factor, a critical factor in their loyalty to specific companies and businesses.
My first thought is Amazon has changed the game with, overnight delivery. And, the other day I ordered something and they're like, we can have it to your house before 9 a.m. And it was just like Sunday night at,
like,
10.
Is that possible?
I didn't even need it that fast, but they're pushed the game insofar as when we expect things. How is that factored into your study?
Not Amazon per se, but certainly our expectations around speed and responsiveness continue to ratchet up. I mean, what is fast 5 years ago is slow today, and probably even more recently than that. And amongst all the different customer expectations out there, expectations around price, expectations around empathy, expectations around everything, speed is the one that never rolls backwards, right? It never goes, and nobody ever says, I've been thinking about it. It'd be fine if you guys just did this more slowly. Like, nobody ever says that, right? Because we always expect it faster, 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 and faster. However, a big part of this research and the presentation is the point that, yes, while it's probably true that you should be faster than you are today, there is a point at which you can be too fast. Speed at all costs actually costs. For example, if you go to a Mexican food restaurant, this happened to me not long ago, and you order enchiladas, they brought me enchiladas in like 90 seconds. And I was flummoxed. Like, how do they make these enchiladas this quickly? Is there an enchilada machine in the back? Did somebody else order these, didn't like them? They took them back and they were on like that hot plate, right? And then somebody else ordered them. That was me. Then they brought them out. I'm like, there's no way this is a quality enchilada item, turning it around that quickly. So too much speed actually reduces trust. You don't want to go to the fastest tattoo artist or the fastest divorce attorney. Like, there are points at which too much speed actually decays consumer trust. So what you want in your business is what I like to call the right now. And the right now is the optimal amount of elapsed time in every customer interaction. It's like the Goldilocks for responsiveness. Not too fast, because you're like, wait a second, what's these enchiladas all about? And obviously not too slow, because then you're angry and upset and disappointed, etc. So there literally is this perfect amount of time all across your customer journey funnel. You just have to figure out what it is.
It makes me think of, we have a mutual friend, Jason Swank, and I was his VP of sales 12 years ago. And one of the things he kept talking about is when a lead comes in, call him back within the first hour, because he just found over time that was just a much higher response rate and set up the meeting.
Absolutely.
Because if they're maybe looking at 2 or 3 different people, and the first one calls going to have a little bit of an advantage. Is that kind of baked into what you're seeing?
It's massively important. It's such an easy thing to do. It doesn't require software or anything else. It just requires a process change on your own part. I got a painter not too long ago, and I got 3 bids, as one does. First painter got back to me in 4 hours. Second painter got back to me in a day. Third painter got back to me in 2 days. Well, which painter did I hire? The one who got back to me in 4 hours, who was not the least expensive, and in fact was the most expensive of the 3. Why does that not matter? Well, I did the same thing that you did, that Jason does, that everybody does, which is you play this mental game with yourself, which is this. If it takes them a long time to get back to me before they have my money, how long is it going to take them to get back to me once they already have my money? So of course we hire the one who gets back to us first. Why? Because we interpret speed as caring. Now, is that actually true? Probably not in most cases. It's probably not actually true, but we interpret it that way every time. And here's the dangerous, insidious, important part about this for business. When you lose on speed, it is almost always invisible to you. If you're painter number 2 or painter number 3 who do not get my business because they were too slow, that doesn't show up on a report. What, Gene, do they think cost them the business?
Either their price or something else, quality.
Price. Almost always price. It's almost always price. So the next time they're in a competitive bid situation, what do? They drop their price. They still don't get hired because they're not any faster. They're just cheaper. They're like, wow, it's getting pretty competitive out here to get a painting job in Bloomington, Indiana. Third time around, they drop their price again. Still don't get hired. Like, wow, these guys will go to any lengths to get a painting job. Only the 4th time, when they're so much less expensive than the other guy who's faster, did they get hired, because the gap is so giant that a consumer can't ignore it. So they close their nose and go with the slow guy, hoping to save money. Only then do they get the job, but all their profit has been frittered away. The entire time, they have no idea the true cause of their business demise, which is responsiveness, not price. When you're too slow, it's almost always hidden from you, which is what makes it so dangerous for business.
Now, Jay just talked about process change. You might be thinking, well, we've got too much to handle right now. We can't do this too. My hope is that you have a team around you, that they are thinking more like leaders and not managers. Managers are looking to optimize what they have, and leaders are looking to break through, create innovation. They're also focused on developing the people around you. So if you are the leader of this organization, this topic of responsiveness is something that you can actually sit down in a meeting and talk about, where are we missing an opportunity to be more responsive and really speed up our ability to serve and really exceed customer expectations. All of that should be done through proper leadership, and you should have that in place. If you don't, I'd love to talk to you about what's going on in your organization, because maybe it's something we can help you with. Now back to Jay. It's a very interesting perspective that you bring to this conversation, Jay. What do we do about this? Like, I will say most of the people listening in are in a B2B world. Can we frame, how do we look at this from that perspective?
Even more important from a B2B perspective, right? Because if you're shopping, you're probably shopping for a purpose. Your average order size is higher. Your number of competitors is typically lower. All the things I've mentioned go double for B2B. Most people don't start a consideration journey in B2B until they're fairly certain about where that outcome is going to be, and the time horizon is typically tighter as well. So massively important in the B2B world. There's a few things you can do. First one is to make sure that you are answering before the customer has to ask. This is super important for B2B. If I were to give everybody tuning in an assignment it would be this. Grab a piece of paper and a pen and write down at this moment the 25 questions that your prospective customers have most often about your business. Everybody could do it. Every single person could do it. Now, take a look at your website and see how many of those answers are easily accessible right now by prospects. Not very many. Most FAQs on B2B are like 5 questions, even though you know there's a lot more than 5 questions. Typically, if you want to know more, Mr. Prospective Customer, you've got to set up a demo. You need to talk to a sales rep, fill out our contact us form, download our new research report, and we'll put you on our marketing automation nurture sequence. We make it so hard to get questions answered because we feel like if we just put them in the room with a salesperson, they'll be able to close the business. Meanwhile, all that customer wants is to self-educate. Some people self-medicate, some people self-educate. It works the same. So answer before they have to ask is one of the best ways to be fast. The fastest way to address a question is to make sure the question never had to be asked in the first place.
Now, there's really interesting that Jay talked about the 25 questions in your brand. This is a very exercisable. Now, Jay's been talking about the 25 questions here, and I want to just kind of put my spin on this. I really believe this is a great conversation for you to have with your team. It could be your leadership team. It could be with your marketing team. It could be with sales, but you want to, or operations even, you want to sit back and talk about, what are the questions that people are asking? Why are we losing out on deals? What are the objections that are commonly coming up inside of our sales conversations? And create content that allows you to get ahead of that, make it searchable through SEO. This is not a marketing podcast, but I just thought this would be a really good place for me to explain to you how this works. And you want to make sure that you have someone that is able to do this for you. This isn't a CEO exercise. This is a team member execution, but you want to, as a team, look at the questions and be able to identify what are the real questions that people are asking before they do business with you. And so that you can get ahead of that. That is the key to unlocking this opportunity. Now back to Jay. Would you also think that if we have content around this, that those people that feel like they have all the answers before that would probably fill out that form for the demo or for the discovery call?
Probably. And one of the things I think is really interesting about demos specifically is there's some great new AI software out there where you sort of just fill out a very brief form and you say, okay, here's kind of my use case. And it automatically creates and plays the demo in real time. There's no form submission. There's no appointment setting. There's no, I can't do it because I'm going to be in Tuscaloosa. Click, 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 see the demo now. Like that kind of process, I think, is very, very exciting.
What is it we haven't touched on about this responsiveness and the speed and the right? How did you frame it? The right
now.
The right now.
Mm-hmm.
What else have we not talked about?
Here's something that blew me away in the research, really unexpected to me. So we asked different generations their attitudes about speed and responsiveness and essentially how much patience they have for business. And my anticipation was that younger people, because I has 2 of those in my family, would be less patient because, they were raised with phones and technology and TikTok and, they think in 5-second increments, right? So my assumption was that they would be the least patient. Turns out the exact opposite, Jane. Boomers, least patient. Gen Z, most patient. Didn't see that coming. Why is that true? I don't know exactly. It might be that boomers have less time left. So the time that they have matters more. That sounds kind of maudlin, but it's also mathematically the case. And it could be that Gen Z may not have as many life responsibilities. They might not have kids of their own and might not be at a career place where they've got tons of stresses on their time. And so they just may have, quote unquote, more free time. Therefore, it's less frustrating to them to have to wait, et cetera. I don't know the exact reason, but I didn't see that coming. And it is true in a lot of businesses, they think, well, we typically, serve older consumers. So, we can wait a little while to get back to that contact us form. No, you can't, because they are ready to roll now. And that was a surprise.
What's playing in my head is the fact that the older you get, the less you will put up with things.
Yeah, you just get the crankies, man. It's and Snickers won't help you. You're just cantankerous. You just had it. I've had it up to here. I'm not going to take it anymore. Can I give you one more piece of advice for B2B?
Absolutely.
All right. So in the research, we asked customers whether they'd be interested in an opportunity to wait less if they had to pay more. And remarkably, 25%, so 1 in 4 customers, will pay as much as 50% more to not have to wait. So I call this the Fast Pass. And every single person listening should have a Fast Pass in 2023. It is my number one recommendation for making money this year without doing anything different that's very difficult at all. All you're doing is resequencing your customers. If 1 in 4 customers will pay 50% more, that's 12.5% more revenue for doing nothing other than resequencing your customers. And because you're not doing anything special, it's probably 12.5% more profit off the top. We see this in the world. When you think about it, it exists, right? So TSA Pre is a Fast Pass. Clear is a Fast Pass. Disney has a Fast Pass, I'm told, the Genie Plus opportunity. I got one the other day. I was at Caesar's Palace giving a speech, and I got there at 2:30, and I expected them to say, as they always do, your room's not ready. Rooms aren't ready till 4 o'clock because, man, it's Vegas. We'll text you at 4 and let you know whether your keys are ready. So I was getting ready to drag my bag or go to a bar or something. But if you'd like to give us $30 more right now, we'll give you keys at this moment. I said, here's my $30. May I have a key, please? So I did the math on this because I actually talked to some people at Caesars afterwards and figured out their ratio. Gene, $1.8 million a year in pure profit just for offering that $30 for a key routine. One hotel. Offer a Fast Pass.
I don't know if you're a gambler, but it probably saved you a couple of hundred.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I'm probably 170 up just on the fact that they gave me that opportunity. It's so, and so here's the deal. Not all your customers are going to want this, but those who do want it desperately, and they will think you are amazing for offering it. Every single business can do this. B2B, B2C, doesn't matter if you're a chiropractor, a software company, doesn't matter. Fast Pass, get on it.
Jay, you never underestimate you. You're always going to bring new stuff, new insights. Thanks. I appreciate the research. I appreciate the way you frame this, and it's very actionable. Be more responsive, the Fast Pass. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, everybody can get it. Download the research. Doesn't cost you anything. It's theTimeToWin.com. Just grab it, have it, use it.
Wow, what a great episode. I love the fact that he's got this data that he can just grasp and the stories that really share what this really means. And hopefully you took some notes on that about, what are the 25 questions your people are asking and the content that you put around that. I wrote that down. It's something I probably could do a better job with, just speaking really directly with you guys. I really love the fact that you can be responsive and it doesn't cost you any more money. You can actually add revenue to your business. You should have a Fast Pass. That's an insight that I hadn't even thought of inside of my business. When you think about your opportunities for growth, make sure you keep coming back here to Growth Think Tank. When you think about leadership and growth, just think of us. When you think of leadership and growth, think of Growth Think Tank. As always, lead with courage. We'll see you next time.